My VAWA case got approved in 2024, and my work permit is about to expire. What do I do next? That is a question I got from one of my viewers in our last live session. I was talking about VAWA self petitions and answering questions live, and this lady, to my surprise, still does not have her green card. So today, I'm going to break down what you need to know after a VAWA approval and how to move from no status to U.S. citizenship. All right. If you just see me for the first time, I'm attorney Ivy. I'm here hosting this live session today to empower the immigrant community, help you all understand what your options are to get free from an abusive situation. I help clients nationwide with their family-based immigration to file their marriage-based green cards, but sometimes the marriage goes south. Things don't work out the way you imagine. So that's where I come in with teaching you how to self-petition, leave that abusive relationship, and move on with your freedom, right? So today, we're really just going to dive deep into what happens next, right after you've been approved, how to actually apply for your green card, get a work permit, travel permit, and any other benefit you may qualify for during this period. Keep in mind that VAWA self-petitions can take anywhere from 3 to 5 years. So you certainly need to protect yourself and make sure that you're able to move forward, right, as a protected member of society, be able to really just live your life to the fullest and away from an abuser. All right. So that's my goal with you all today. I'm an immigrant myself, like you all already know. So I'm really passionate about teaching immigrants all the different tips and tricks that they need to actually succeed in America. Okay, so let's get into the material right now about moving on from an approved VAWA case, all right, and now getting your green card. Okay, so if you missed the last episode, I believe episode 1 and 2 of this season, we talked about what a VAWA self-petition really is and how to identify abuse. So you can check those out. But if you already applied for a VAWA self-petition, you already know what it is and you got approved, right? What happens right now is that you can really apply for your green card, right? You're now a self-petitioner. You no longer have to depend on your abuser and you're protected from deportation. That's really the benefit. That's the immediate benefit of having an approved VAWA self-petition, right? And so once that's approved, your immediate next steps should really be to file your green card, your I-485, all right? And for some people, they wait, like this lady that I told you about in the beginning. She waited for whatever reason. She filed the I-360 alone and then got the work permit. I'm not sure her entire situation or why she even did that. But as you keep on watching, you realize that there's actually an option to file your self-petition and your I-485 concurrently. You can file it all at once, okay? So that's something we're gonna get more into during this session. But yeah, once your I-360 is approved, the next step is pretty much getting your green card filed, your I-485, okay? So now, when you file, it's pretty much right away because you are approved, right? You have the petition. There's always a requirement for a petition before you can file an I-485. If the marriage was good, your petition is going to be your I-130, which is proving that you are the qualified relative of a U.S. citizen, right? That's pretty much the petition for a good marriage. And when it's a bad marriage, when there's been marital problems, abuse, control, all that stuff that we talked about in episode 2, right? You can then file with the I-360. That's your petition, right? You still need a petition to get a green card, but it's just going to depend on, where your marriage is at, like what's the status, okay? So if you're married to a citizen or married to a permanent resident, you can file your green card right away. Even if you enter without a visa, all right, or you're somehow inadmissible because you overstayed or worked unauthorized, you can still file your green card right away. because that's really the benefit of a self-petition. It is a humanitarian option to protect immigrants who are experiencing all forms of abuse. And because of that abuse, they're not able to actually move forward with their green card. Right? Sometimes it could be your spouse really withholding documents from you. Right? It could really be just them delaying the process somehow, jeopardizing your chances. Right, so it is not something very easy to spot when it's not physical abuse, but it is there. And people need to recognize that you can actually be free from that situation and get your green card right away and move on with your life. Okay. If you're going to file concurrently, like I mentioned, meaning that you're going to put all the applications in at the same time, you should certainly include your work and travel permit in that application. Unless you enter without a visa, right, you should still be able to travel while your application is pending, visit your family and your loved ones, because like I said, it will take 4 to 5 years for you to finally be done with this process. And you don't want to be stuck in one place. You need the option to travel. So you can put in that I-131. And thankfully, the great news about I think in April 2024 is when the change happened, right? When that new change happened is that they took away the requirement for a form fee. It's now free. If you're doing a self-petition, it's free for you to put in an I-485, an I-765, and also a travel permit if you want to. So don't hesitate, because that option is there now. Okay. So if you put in these forms and you qualify, right, with your I-765, you'll be able to really start working. Right, that's pretty much what a I-765 is for. It's your work authorization. You start working while you're waiting, and the travel permit allows you to travel, while you're waiting. So if you don't have these in place and you work unauthorized, you're just making it more complicated for your situation. And then obviously traveling, dude, you might not be allowed back if you don't have a travel permit. So I wouldn't recommend traveling in this administration, really. Like, if there's no emergencies going on at home, I really would not recommend traveling anywhere. Just go through your process. When it's done and you get your green card and preferably your citizenship, then you can travel, right? Because again, permanent residents can get deported if things are, not going in the right direction. If there's any inadmissibility at any point, right, you certainly could still be deported. Okay. So one of the benefits, again, for VAWA, or one of the many benefits, is protection from that deportation. So if the reason why you are violating your status, why you overstayed, why you worked unauthorized is because of the abuse, you could still get protection from removal. It's called a VAWA cancellation of removal, right? That allows you, again, to tell the judge that you're in a real marriage with a citizen, you've experienced some extreme abuse, and that has kept you in this country and caused you to even have some criminal records, right? Because sometimes there's domestic violence in the home, and then you call, you might have a record too. So those are things to actually keep in mind when you are applying for a green card, knowing that regardless, for your VAWA case, right, your VAWA self-petition, knowing that it does protect you and provides benefits to keep you in the U.S. while you heal and try to figure out this whole situation going on with you and your spouse, right? Because you do need time to heal. That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest reason why this benefit exists. They're not going to kick you back out to your country after you came here, probably stayed here because of that abusive spouse, and then now they're changing up on you. So you need to heal. You need time to do that, and the VAWA self-petition provides that time for you to do that. Okay. If you have questions, again, I know I'm just kind of going through this material. If you have questions, feel free to ask in the comments. My link is going to be there for you to reach out for a one-on-one conversation if you're interested in that. But otherwise, today is just really a teaching moment to really show you all what you need to do, right, from that VAWA approval up until you become a citizen. Because again, it's very important. A lot of people don't know it. And they're waiting 2 years, just spending time without getting the full benefits and really being done with your immigration journey. Because until you become a citizen, you are still on the hook. You could still get deported. And it's just not final. Okay? So as far as timeline goes to get a green card, there are different options or different things you'll see people talking about online. But as of March 31st, there was certainly an update that let us know that VAWA cases could take anywhere from 38 to 45 months, which is basically 5 years. Okay, it's going to vary. Every family is going to be different because I had a lady early on in my career get approved for her VAWA case in 9 months. That was unusual, right? I've never seen that happen again, but it did happen. VAWA self-petition with a pending I-485, right? Her case was an abeyance situation because she already filed when she came to us. 9 months. Now she's a permanent resident, right? So it may not happen that quickly for you, but whatever the case may be, you have those benefits in between to help you pretty much build your life until you're completely free. Okay? All right. Welcome in, everyone. Let me know where you're watching me from, actually, in the comments. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. Right now, I help clients nationwide, but let me know. I'm just curious, just to know. All right, as far as VAWA cases go, right, in the past, I've been doing this for over half a decade now. There was never a need for an interview because VAWA is a very sensitive subject, right? This is based on violence and abuse. So people really are not equipped or prepared to really talk about these things. But in 2026, USCIS will certainly call you in for a panel style interview, right? It's going to be with you and multiple agents. They're going to ask you questions about the abuse. You're going to have to make your sworn statement again on file. They'll ask you statements about the marriage, right? Whether it was a real marriage to begin with and why you stayed or why you left, when, all those type of things. They really want to know if people are really being honest about their experiences. And even though with abuse, right, that's the reason why I'm just confused why they're doing this. It is really hard sometimes for the victims to replay everything that happened, like to be able to remember accurately, because with trauma, you're going to forget. Like that's just how the brain works. You're going to really forget because you don't want to keep hurting yourself and keep reminding yourself. So the best way to prepare in 2026 is to read your statement. Make sure you're working with a professional so you know what's relevant in your statement, because not every single thing in your statement is persuasive or even necessary. You need to make sure you are highlighting the major points that shows the timeline from good faith marriage to the abuse to how the abuser has really held you down, usually by threatening to deport you, refusing to provide documents, those things that they have done directly impacting your immigration case. Right? So you need to have all those things in your statement and be able to say it out loud to someone who asks. Make sure you're going to therapy so that you would be able to manage some of the emotions that comes with talking about these things. That's how you prepare in 2026 for a potential VAWA interview, because it's coming. And that shouldn't scare you. That should just let you know what you need to do ahead of time, because you have this benefit. You should take advantage of it, and nothing should stop you from actually moving forward with it. So like the lady I spoke about in the beginning, Miriam, who basically has been waiting for 2 years. I'm not sure if she filed on her own or why she's just not advised on the fact that she needs to file her I-45 like immediately. Because VAWA in itself is an incomplete benefit, even though it provides a travel permit. It is not residency. It doesn't lead to citizenship. You're just going to be in that status forever. It does provide that temporary protection from deportation, right? Because it is a deferred action. That's what it is. But it just does not provide the full benefits. Like, you can't travel on a VAWA approval, right? You can get a travel permit, but again, travel permits are also limited with no path to citizenship. So that's what you need to keep in mind. VAWA does lead to citizenship, but you need to get your green card first, and then after 5 years, apply for your citizenship, your naturalization, right? If you experience any delays because you got an RFE, that's okay, because that's pretty common to get delays with a VAWA case. That's really why it's taking 5 years, because they really want to make sure, like I said, that people are being honest about the situation and not really taking advantage of a system that's created to protect victims. Okay? So make sure that you have a lawyer to file your VAWA case, because this is not the type of case that you just put in some paperwork and then expect the best results. If you've had any overstay, any violations, you certainly need legal representation to file. Any prior denials, you definitely need representation to file, because prior denials could really even be signaling an assumption of fraud. Because why did you get denied the first time? Unless you were denied because your spouse withdrew the application or said something at an interview to jeopardize your case. Now we're talking. That could also go towards your VAWA case and your VAWA statement, because you know what went down. But if you got denied because they're suspecting that your marriage was not real, and now you're coming to claim a VAWA case, that could really be complicated. If you have fear of the upcoming interview, because like I told you all, the new policy, there's definitely going to be interviews for self-petition, you totally need legal help. In my practice, one of the main things that I offer to my clients is interview prep, because even with regular marriage-based applications, they still go for interviews. You still have to go before an agent and really prove that your relationship is real. And many people get nervous about that because, who really asks those type of questions anyway? This is not normal. These types of things are only specific to immigrants because they're trying to vet you to make sure you are the type of immigrant that should be coming into the U.S. So if you have any type of fear or any criminal history, you certainly need a professional to navigate this. All right, and here's my 4-step easy method that I've used over the years to help my clients achieve this goal, which is essentially get their green card and their citizenship. So if you're an immigrant right now and you don't have a plan, you don't really know what to do next and how to get your green card, how to get out of that situation that you're in, this is your 4-step method to get out. So take a screenshot so you can be reminded. If you are in step 1 where you haven't even talked to a professional, you don't know if you're eligible, you certainly need to do that first, because I'm going to examine your situation just like a doctor, right? Give you a diagnosis and say, okay, the issue here is that you're being abused and this person is doing XYZ. This counts as abuse, because many people don't even know what counts as abuse. So they end up just sitting there thinking that, oh, because they're not hitting me, how am I going to really prove this? You can check out episode 2. I talked about documents there, how to prove certain incidents, especially emotional abuse. And you'd be surprised to see that you actually do have a lot of the evidence that they're asking for. You already have it in your phone. So if you examine your situation and you assemble the right documents through legal guidance, right? Because you file correctly, you do everything that's asked for a self-petition. The next step is really just to track your case and make sure that nothing is falling through the cracks and is still being processed in a timely manner. With VAWA cases, you actually cannot call USCIS directly to track the case. There's a special way that we have to track this case, even though you do have your case number, just like everyone else, right? But the VAWA office is different from the rest of the USCIS. So again, this is where legal representation comes in, because we can help you with tracking your case, making sure that you actually are in line, right, without being just overlooked, because that does happen. Files get missing and nobody will say anything. And once you're tracking your case, you can prepare for the next steps, because now you know, okay, interview's coming up. Let me do that. Or biometrics, or just whatever. You get your prima facie. Your prima facie is pretty much your first approval that lets whoever is asking, because you can use it to get benefits, lets people know that you do qualify for self-petition, but it just needs time with the investigation and the processing and all of that. But you have your prima facie. You met all the 7 requirements. That's what it is. Okay, so you start preparing for the next steps. All right. So thank you all for watching. I'm just going to do a quick recap now. I haven't seen any questions in the comments. You can just reach out to me for a one-on-one. But if you're still watching, let's do a recap. All right. You know that VAWA does lead to a green card, and that basically following the right steps now is going to give you that long-term success. You're going to end up with becoming a U.S. citizen. VAWA is just the beginning. And I'm happy for those of you who have taken the steps. You've actually moved forward with your self-petition, and now you're approved. So get your green card, wait for 5 years, and then you get your citizenship. Those are the steps. All right? So if you've been listening to me, watching all my live sessions this season, understanding what VAWA is, how to qualify, what abuse really is, right? And you really need that one-on-one guidance. Now is the time for you to take that step, right? Give me a call. My number is on the screen, so I can review your case and give you the best strategy for you, because everyone's going to be different in this whole immigration processing. Everyone is totally different, because their spouse has different status. Some of them are divorced, some of them live with their spouse, just different scenarios. And it all matters when it comes to filing a self-petition. Right, so if you're in the Charlotte area, you can stop by our office for an evaluation, or you can just click the link in my comments. It'll open up my calendar. I have some availability next week, right? We're in the last weeks of April, right? So we should pretty much be making a plan, but this is Q2, making a plan for how we want the summer to go, the rest of the year to go, right? And for some of you, the only way it can go in a good direction is you leaving that abusive situation, right? The holidays, unfortunately, are one of the worst times for victims, because school's out, now everyone's home, the sun's out, we're all out here, and they take advantage of all of that because you're at home more. They have the chance to be more oppressive and all of that. So it gets worse as the summer is here and we're all just outside. Protect yourself today. Don't worry about anything that you don't know of yet, because some people just overthink. They think lawyers are expensive. They think they don't qualify. They just think their abuse is going to find out. They just think the worst. Like, why are you overthinking when you haven't even talked to someone yet? The first step in getting your freedom is examining your situation so you can get the proper strategy to free you from that situation. Okay? That's all it is. So I encourage you all to book a call with me. I'm Attorney Ivy, like I've said. I've been licensed for over half a decade, probably a decade now. Really, we're in 2026. And I've been doing this, helping immigrants nationwide. So I know I can certainly help you if only you just reach out to me. All right? Don't be shy. I'm very nice and understanding. And I hope that we can really get you something that can free you indefinitely from all of that stress that you're going through right now. So I'm going to wrap up now because it is Friday. So it's time for you all to go hang out with your families, just do whatever you do for the weekend. So yeah, that's it. Any other questions you have, send me a DM. If you're on the Facebook group, send me a DM and I'll answer you directly and go from there. All right. Bye, guys. Have a wonderful day.